Meet Oscar Wilde, a clever voice in a serious time. Have you ever read a story that made you laugh and think at the same time? If so, you might enjoy the writing of Oscar Wilde, an author who did just that over 100 years ago. Wilde had a special way with words. He could make people smile with his humor, but he also used his stories to explore big, serious ideas about life, kindness, and what it means to be good. So, who was he? Oscar Wilde was an Irish poet, playwright, and novelist. He was born in Dublin in 1854 and died in 1900. That means he lived during a time called the Victorian Era, 1837 to 1901, a time when people were expected to be serious, proper, and religious. Most writers back then followed the rules. Wilde did not. A man who stood out. Wilde became famous for his writing, but also for his personality. He wore flashy clothes, told clever jokes, and wasn't afraid to say what he thought. He was known for his sharp wit. Wit means you're fast thinking and say clever things that make people laugh or think. His jokes weren't silly, they were smart, playful, and often made people see the world in a new way. While other people tried to fit in, Wilde stood out with his bold style, clever jokes, and deep questions. He became a leader in something called the aesthetic movement, which believed art should be beautiful and enjoyable, not just useful. Wilde loved beauty, but he also warned about the positive and negative sides of loving beauty too much. In his most famous novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, he explored what happens when someone cares more about staying young and pretty than about doing what's right. Writing, that's fun and deep. Even though Wilde lived long ago, his stories still feel fresh today. That's because his style was playful and thoughtful. He used fun and imaginative writing to explore serious ideas. His stories could make you laugh, but they also made you think. Wilde didn't just write to entertain. He often included moral lessons, lessons about right versus wrong behavior in the stories. He wanted readers to think about how people treat each other, how to be kind, and what really matters in life. You might notice this when we read The Selfish Giant, one of his most touching tales. Questions about faith and life. Wilde had mixed feelings about religion during his life. He was born into one Christian tradition, Protestant, and was baptized into another, Catholic, shortly before he died. That shows he was still searching for meaning, even at the end of his life. Sometimes he made sarcastic or playful comments about religion, comments that might have made people uncomfortable back then. After all, his comments could cause trouble in a society that expected respect for faith. But Wilde wasn't trying to be rude. He was using humor to ask serious questions about life, truth, and belief. Even though he joked about religion, his stories often show Christian values like love, kindness, forgiveness, generosity, sacrifice, and redemption. That tells us something important. Wilde cared deeply about right and wrong, and he used stories to help people understand those values. Why Wilde still matters. Oscar Wilde's stories are more than just old tales from the past. They are full of beauty, imagination, and meaning. He was brave enough to speak up in a world that didn't always accept people who were different. He used his sharp wit to make people think and to challenge unfair rules in society. As we read his stories, look for the values he believed in. Think about how his playful style teaches powerful lessons. And remember, behind every clever joke or magical tale is a writer who truly wanted to make the world a better, more thoughtful place.